And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And boy, have we got a fantastic show scheduled for you today. Lots of stuff going on. But first of all, I want to welcome my genius grandson, Joey, back to the land of God that God created, Southern California. He's been in Orlando, Florida, where it's been hot and humid. Lots of stuff going on there, but he spent the week with his brother and his mom and his dad at Disney World and did it all first class. Can't beat that. Well, I want you to know that on today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news. New legislation the IRS loses. In our new segment, the rest of the story, which is a tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey. Now, on today's show, our special segment is with Sean Lefebvre. And Sean and I are going to be talking about healthcare on his Geared for Wellness corner. And then what we're going to do before that, though, is let you know that at 3:02 p.m. Pacific time, that it's currently, I don't know what it currently is. It's currently 81 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's down from 86 on its way to 59, so that's not so bad. That's a good deal going on. Let's see here. How about we get into the news? But before we do that, I want to do the 10 things that you need to know about for today. We've encapsulated it so you get a pretty good idea of what's happening, and then we'll get into a little bit more in depth. First of all, the 10 things that you need to know for today, which is Tuesday. And first up, it's Hillary Clinton will be the first woman to top a major party ticket in the United States in U.S. history. Well, according to an AP count, she has commitments from enough delegates to become the presumptive Democratic presidential nominee. And Trump settles scores, but is he securing voters? Since he became the GOP's presumptive presidential nominee, Trump has spent more time picking fights than trying to attract new supporters, unnerving some Republicans. And Louisville preps for the greatest memorial. Luminaries from around the world will pay their final respects to Muhammad Ali at a memorial planned in exacting detail by the boxing legend himself. And where the world's athletes will find filthy water. Well, August's Olympic Games have trained a spotlight on Rio's failure to clean up its waterways and world-famous beaches, where thousands of liters of raw human sewage pour into the ocean every second. Well, who withdraws from the Olympics? Stephen Curry won't play for the U.S. Olympic basketball team in Rio, citing recent injuries. No mention of what other athletes have expressed concerns about: Rio's water situation and the Zika virus. That seems to be the whole story. I actually personally a little surprised that they didn't change the venue because of what's going on there. Well, why the Fed's next steps remain unclear. Federal Reserve Chair Janet Yellen indicates the U.S. economy is improving but marked by uncertainty, and she gives no sign when the Fed would resume raising interest rates. Well, with the new job starts going down, they can't very well have an awful lot of confidence in the way the economy is coming back. So we'll talk more about it. And tropical weather blows in. Now, heavy rains from Tropical Storm Colin strike Florida and Georgia, knocking out power in some areas and flooding roads on the Gulf Coast. My grandson Joey got out of there just in time. Well, Syria makes for unusual allies. The battle for the Islamic State's self-styled capital of Raqqa has meant a convergence of U.S. and Russian strategy to defeat the extremist group, with Syria's Kurds emerging as a common link. And Grim Sleeper gets the death sentence. A jury orders the ultimate punishment for 63-year-old Lonnie Franklin Jr., a serial killer who murdered 9 women and a teenage girl over several decades in South Los Angeles. Well, when to stop cancer treatment? Medical guidelines say dying cancer patients shouldn't get harsh and painful treatment, but new research suggests it happens all the time. Well, folks, you're going to hear about it today when we talk to our buddy Sean Lefebvre during the Geared for Wellness Corner. It's all about money and profits. not about health care and human dignity. And finally, Hollywood sequels are struggling. The film industry's most can't-miss assets are struggling at the box office this year, including Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in Out of the Shadows. Well, you know what? Let's get into a little more in-depth news for you. The history in hand, Clinton faces voters as the preemptive nominee. History already in hand, Hillary Clinton will celebrate becoming the first woman to lead a major American political party today following votes in California, New Jersey, and 4 other states. Contests Clinton hopes send her into the general election in strong standing. Clinton reached the 2,383 delegates needed to become the presumptive Democratic presidential nominee on the eve of today's voting, according to an Associated Press tally. Her total is comprised of pledged delegates won in primaries and caucuses, as well as superdelegates, the party officials and office holders who can back a candidate of their choosing. Clinton greeted news of her achievement with a measured response, wary of depressing turnout and eager to save the rivalry for a big victory party tonight in Brooklyn. During a campaign stop in California, Clinton told a cheering crowd she was on the brink of a historic, unprecedented moment, but said there was still work to do in her unexpectedly heated primary battle with Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. We're going to fight hard for every single vote, Clinton declared. Well, you wouldn't expect anything different, would you? I wouldn't think so. Well, here we're going at it some more. The GOP unite in denouncing Trump comments on the judge. Leading Republicans united today in an extraordinary denunciation of Donald Trump's attacks on federal judge, with House Speaker Paul Ryan calling them the textbook definition of a racist comment, though he stood by his endorsement of the preemptive presidential nominee. Trump asserted that his comments were being misconstrued, but did not back down or apologize for saying repeatedly that U.S. District Judge Gonzalo Curiel could not preside fairly over a case involving Trump University because of his Mexican heritage. You know what? He just seems to be stepping all over his own tongue here. I don't know if this is by design or by accident, if it's because of intelligence or ignorance. Time will tell us. Well, Clinton seeks to cap the nomination with wins in California and New Jersey. Already the presumptive Democratic nominee, Hillary Clinton pressed for victory in California and 5 other states today, while Bernie Sanders hoped a strong showing would raise doubts about her historic achievement and spur superdelegate to rally around him instead. The Democratic race was coming to an end amid new turmoil in the Republican Party. GOP leaders recoiled at Donald Trump's comments about a Hispanic judge, with one senator even pulling his endorsement of the presumptive GOP nominee. Trump insisted his words had been misconstrued as an attack on people of Mexican heritage. Well, we'll see what happens with that. I don't know that people misconstrued it at all, as a matter of fact. Well, how about this? We're going to come back from our short break, and I'm going to talk to you about spats among Iraq's security forces, and they delay the advance of Fallujah. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away. We got a lot of great show for you.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And we're talking news. Well, as I told you before, we're going to talk about spats among Iraq's security forces, delay advance on Fallujah. You know, after securing the southern edge of militant-held Fallujah, 7 battalions of Iraqi Special Forces units have been unable to advance for 2 days, a delay that commanders say isn't due to counterattacks or difficult terrain, but rather to disagreements about battlefield strategy among the desperate Iraqi forces fighting the Islamic State group. Unlike previous anti-IS operations, the fight for Fallujah involves an array of Iraqi security forces, a battle plan that was initially cast as an example of how those fighters can work together has instead revealed just how fractured Iraqi security forces really are. You know what? They can't fight with each other. They can't fight without each other. Give me a break. You know, what the heck's going on with all this training and millions of dollars that we spent getting them ready? I don't know what's happening there. Well, prosecutor backs off the Detroit man's 4 murder convictions. A judge on today threw out the murder convictions of a young Detroit man who pleaded guilty to killing 4 people at age 14, a remarkable turnaround in a case that has been in doubt for years after a professional hitman stepped forward and took responsibility for the slayings at a drug den. Judge Bain Sullivan acted at the request of the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office and lawyers for Devontae Sanford. Prosecutor Kim Worthy had long resisted efforts to revisit the convictions until law schools at the University of Michigan and Northwestern University and other pro bono lawyers got involved in 2015. Sanford, now 23, is in prison in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, but he'll now be released on bond, probably by tomorrow, and all charges will be dropped after the judge learns more about the conclusions by state police in an investigation that was requested last year by Worthy. No one can give Davante Stanford and his family back the 9 years that he has spent in jail for a crime he did not commit. But the court's decision corrects a grave injustice, said Heidi Nasco, an attorney for Stanford. You know what? Don't we hear more and more about these innocent people that are incarcerated unjustly? It just, does it bother you as much as it does me? Luckily, it's not as many as it could be, but are we being as careful as we should be? Well, a confident Assad vows to liberate every inch of Syria. President Bashar Assad vowed today his troops would liberate every single inch of Syria, just like they recaptured the ancient town of Palmyra from the Islamic State group, in a speech that reflected his renewed confidence as the military pressed on toward Raqqa, the extremist self-styled capital. His remarks in Parliament came as his opponents, backed by Turkey and Saudi Arabia, are struggling for survival, and his troops have almost encircled rebel-held neighborhoods of Aleppo, Syria's largest city. Saying the military situation was much better than it was months ago, Assad told the lawmakers that Aleppo will be the graveyard where the hopes and dreams of the butcher Erdogan will be buried. Well, too bad both of them can't get buried there. It's, just a thought, I suppose. Anyway, a defendant in the church shootings faces November federal trial. The federal death penalty trial of a white man charged with shooting and killing 9 black parishioners during a Bible study at the Charleston Church will be held in November, a judge announced just today. Chief U.S. District Judge Richard Gergel set November the 7th to begin selecting jurors for the federal trial of Dylan Roof, 22 years old, who faces numerous counts, including hate crimes in the June 17th shooting at Emmanuel AME Church. That's about 2 months before Roof's state death penalty trial. Roof faces 9 counts of murder in state court in a trial set to begin in January. Handcuffed and clad in a gray striped prison jumpsuit, Roof attended today's hearing, but did not address the court. Not a whole lot he could say to him, considering all the evidence that's sitting out there. I mean, really, give it a break. How about this? Excluded groups say that they should be part of the UN AIDS meeting. Gay, transgender, and other groups blocked from participating in a high-level UN meeting on AIDS represent the populations most affected by the disease and should take center stage at the event, advocates said today. Nearly 24 civil society organizations from 5 continents that provide services for LGBT communities, intravenous drug users, and others have been denied access to the 3-day General Assembly meeting starting tomorrow at the request of Russia, Cameroon, Tanzania, and 51 Muslim countries. Under UN rules, any of the 193 member countries can veto the participation of any non-governmental organization without providing a reason. So, those excluded decided to hold their own event outside the UN, hosted by the Ford Foundation. Well, go figure, right? Now, having said that, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to do the IRS loses. And the first case up is, when salary is deemed to be a dividend, payroll taxes is refunded. And I'll tell you all about it right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And you know what? We're going to get to you know what? I think what we're going to do is let's get to the IRS loses. That's the first thing we ought to be getting to. So let's get that started.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Okay, here we are. The IRS loses. And you know what? We've got some great cases for you today, so let me get right to them. First off is when salary is deemed to be a dividend, payroll tax is refunded. The IRS and tax court held that the salary paid by a corporation to its owner was excessive. Therefore, the company's deduction for it was disallowed. When the IRS submitted its calculation of tax due as a result of the disallowed deduction, the company and its owner protested that it didn't include a refund of the 1.45% Medicare payroll tax each had paid on the salary. The IRS said that the tax court does not have jurisdiction over payroll tax disputes, so it cannot order a refund of the taxes. Tax court ruling? Whereas here in the income tax case, payroll taxes must be recomputed to reach the correct tax result. The court does have jurisdiction, and the refund is ordered. Well, how about this? The IRS loses. Death defeats a levy on a lawyer's bank account. An attorney died while still owing back taxes. A state court then ordered that his business bank account be distributed to clients for whom he had held funds and to trustees named to terminate the affairs of his law practice to cover their necessary costs and fees. But before the bank made the distribution, the IRS issued a levy on the account. This is what the court said. After the state court's order, the deceased lawyer had no interest in the bank account and its funds, which now belong to his clients, creditors, and the trustees as fees. Therefore, there was nothing for the IRS levy to attach to. And then finally, the IRS loses. A bar's licensed owner should not be treated as the owner. Charles Maney wanted to purchase a bar, but a felony conviction kept him from obtaining a liquor license. So he reached a deal with his friend Ray Monk, who bought the bar, obtained its license, and opened business accounts for it in his own name. Now, Maney then ran the bar as Chuck's Place, and Monk moved 200 miles away. Manny paid $2,500 a month to Monk that Monk treated as rent. Now, here's the snag. The IRS audited Monk, said he was the bar's legal owner, and taxed its income to him. Here's what the court said. The monthly $2,500 payment did not vary. indicating it was rent, not profit sharing. In all other ways, Manny and Monk acted as tenant and landlord. So the bar's income was not taxed to Monk. And that's exactly what you would expect. Now, you've heard me talk about being a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff. That's where we're at right now with this segment we call Inside the IRS. Okay, now here we are inside the IRS. What do you do if the IRS sends you a check to which you are not entitled? You know what? Based on the most recent study conducted by the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration, that's TIGTA, the IRS issues millions of dollars of incorrect refund checks each and every year. Now, many times the IRS will credit one person's account with someone else's money or issue a duplicate refund to the same person. Now, do not keep the money if the IRS mistakenly sends you a check or electronically sends the money to your account. Eventually, the IRS is going to realize that it's made an error and ask for the money back with interest. Better approach? If you receive money from the IRS and suspect that it was sent mistakenly, or you don't understand why the IRS gave it to you, send it back with a letter requesting that the IRS confirm that the payment is accurate. If the IRS sends you a new check with an explanation, you can then cash the check unless you actually know that the IRS still has not corrected that mistake. Just kind of keep that in mind as you move along. Well, what if it just sounds too good to be true? Well, you've heard that before, right? Promoters of tax schemes continue to make compelling arguments to gullible individuals that income that they earn is not subject to U.S. income tax based on Internal Revenue Code Section 861. Now, under the promoter's theory of this section of the code, U.S. citizens are subject to income tax only from foreign-based activities. Now, this position has been shown to be without merit, false, and a misapplication of the law and the regulations. So you all remember Fallen Star actor Wesley Snipes. He's been indicted and actually found guilty of tax evasion because he submitted amended tax returns claiming refunds of millions of dollars based on the Section 861 argument. The indictment also alleges that Snipes did not listen to his tax advisor who advised against participating in the scheme. Snipes, who was arrested on December the 11th of 2006, pleaded not guilty, was arrested on released on $1 million bond, returned to Namibia, where he was filming a movie. At a news conference, one of his lawyers said Mr. Snipes was a victim of his tax advisors. It's tax season. Don't be stooped. Here's the thing. He came back, he got found guilty, and he spent time away from home in a federal lockup. So you want to be careful about these things. Well, let me give you one more before we take a break. When the IRS asks you to extend the statute of limitations, generally the IRS must make an assessment of additional tax within 3 years from the date a tax return is filed. If the tax return is being examined, the IRS may ask you to extend the statute of limitations for a period of 1 year or longer until it completes that examination. If you refuse, the IRS will make an assessment based on what it thinks you owe, and you will then have the right to file a petition with the U.S. tax court. The strategy? If the IRS has failed to identify a significant tax issue, such as your failure to report a large chunk of income, it may be a good idea to refuse to extend that statute of limitations. Giving the IRS more time to pursue the tax audit could mean that it'll use the extra time to develop additional tax issues that could cost you a lot of money or even involve defending yourself against criminal charges. So consult an attorney before you do any of that kind of stuff. Now, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we will, well, you know what? When we come back, it'll probably be a total surprise. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. BeInInfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. the nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean Lefebvre, in his Geared for Wellness Corner.
And I'm Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:34 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 77 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's on its way down to 56 degrees. And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in New York City, it's 56 degrees and it is overcast. And if you're in Chicago, Illinois, it's also 56 degrees and it's mostly cloudy. But I'll tell you, there are no clouds around my good buddy Sean Lefebvre. Hey, Sean, you sitting out there?
I am sitting out here.
Good. Now, if you're sitting out there and you am sitting out there, are you sitting in a lounge chair with a cocktail in your hand?
Well, not quite. I'm back inside and secure with all the doors closed because I got to tell you what just happened. So I'm sitting here. This was not even 30 minutes ago. It was maybe 20 minutes ago. Mm-hmm. Sitting here working on my computer. I was actually doing some research on pregnancy and the mom's diet and how that affects the child and on. And actually, we'll talk about some of that today because it fits right in with what I wanted to talk about anyway. It really wasn't why I was researching it. But anyway, so I'm working on my computer, typing away, looking at all this stuff. And all of a sudden, this little bird flies through my front door, makes a beeline. The front door was wide open. I like, this is a nice thing about where I live is we don't have any bugs, and it's always moderate, cool temperatures. So I've got the front door open. I've got the sliding glass door all the way open, full open, and nice light little breeze, just enough little breeze just to make it really comfortable in here. This little bird comes flying through the front door, makes a beeline at full speed straight towards the sliding glass door, but for whatever reason decides that flying through the part that has two glass doors and a screen the screen wasn't even shut, it was even open, was a smarter idea than flying through the great big gap, the huge opening there that would have just taken it straight over the balcony and outside. But all of a sudden that thing came in like a shot and a big thud. And I think it really kind of it must have taken a lot out of him because he decided to just lay right down on the carpet and take a nap at that point.
a lot like the owner of the facility, huh?
Exactly. So I'm like, you know what? For the show, I think I'm going to just lock everything up so I don't have something come flying in and trying to take me out. I'm like, it's dangerous around here. I didn't realize, we may not have riots and police shootings and stuff around here, but we got some pretty high. We got some kamikaze birds flying around here. I'll tell you. You
know what? It's interesting that you would say that. And it's certainly not what we're going to talk about. But I've seen birds and big birds. It's not where I'm at now, but at my other house. They'd swoop down right into these these glass doors, as though they couldn't see the glass doors, knock themselves out cold. All right. And you think, geez, did they kill themselves? You wait for them to come to. Eventually, they all came to because they all flew off. But it makes you wonder what the heck's going on with them.
Man, I'll tell you what, this guy, I don't know. I guess birds don't see the way we see.
No, that's for sure. Well, that beak gets in the way. I think Danny Thomas had the same problem. His beak got in the way.
Exactly.
Hey, listen.
I prodded this bird a few times to see, but he seemed like he wasn't waking up. So.
Hey, I've got an issue that I saw in today's news that I wanted to ask you what your feelings were, and I don't know if you've seen this or not. It actually came in about 46 minutes ago. A California mom files an appeal to keep her child on life support. Now, she actually filed with the judge, last week in asking the judge to prolong this. It was an order that ordered Kaiser to keep the child on life support for another week or two while they actually appealed the court's decision. what's happened is that the court has said that when this expires, then Kaiser's going to be free to stop the life support. But Kaiser has not proven to the courts that this baby, which is 2 years old, is brain dead yet. And if they make a mistake and the baby really isn't brain dead, then this is an irrevocable decision that they're making. I don't understand. Yeah. Is it that costly for Kaiser to keep a 2-year-old child on life support until they know for sure?
Well, I would imagine that the answer to that is yes, it is very costly. However, you also have to go, okay, well, what is a human life worth? Obviously we have by default at some unconscious level put a price tag on human life. I mean, that's just plain and simple. No one's going to come out and write it down on a piece of paper, but that number is certainly there in the back of someone's subconscious minds, if not everyone's at some point. But, that would be a tough decision. Is the child brain dead? If you can't really answer that, then you have a duty as a healthcare professional, as a doctor, to continue to give care to this child until you know that there is no chance of recovery, because the first, their Hippocratic oath that they take, do no harm.
So let me ask you this, because you said it's very expensive, but the hospitals have already bought all the machines and all of the paraphernalia to keep the people alive, and this is a 2-year-old kid, wouldn't make a difference what the age is. And it seems to me, then, where is this tremendous expense? Is it really just in the nursing to monitor the machines, or where's the expense coming in from? Because the machine's already there, whether it's plugged in or not, right?
Well, yeah, that's true to a point. You've got, obviously, even take away the nursing expenses, you're going to have nurses, you're going to have doctors come in and check up, and there's got to be some sort of intravenous fluids given to keep the baby nourished and the whole bit,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure there are physical costs as well as manpower costs involved, and they're probably not tremendous. They probably come into the, thousands for sure, maybe tens of thousands. I don't know how much it costs, but obviously when a hospital bills you, when you buy a machine that's able to keep someone alive, I don't know what a machine like that costs, but you have to recoup the cost of that machine. So there's a lot of investment that goes into it, and of course I'm speaking strictly from a business point of view, not from a life-saving point of view.
But Kaiser Permanente is an HMO. They're an insurance company. They get paid. They've already invested this, and they get paid by all of us that actually pay our premiums to Kaiser and don't go every day, right? And it seems to me that it's no different than if they had Blue Cross or Blue Shield at some other hospital. The hospital, is just going to continue to bill the insurance company, but at that point, the hospital's already made the investment on the machine, and if they lose recouping that on one 2-year-old child that they're not even certain is brain dead, I'm not getting this.
That's a tricky thing. Is the machine paid for? Yes. When you look at it from a business economics point of view, I don't know if that's considered a sunk cost at that point where you disregard the cost of the machine, or if it's folded into operational costs. In the real big picture of things, if we took away the fact that the hospital is going to bill for every tissue and for, so many hours that this person's on this machine, it's going to become, into the probably thousands of dollars every day that it would cost to bill this to an insurance company. You got the machine that's owned by the hospital, insurance company separate from the hospital. There's going to be a bill sent to the insurance company, and obviously the insurance company, wants to minimize their expenses as well, and the hospital is still going to bill what they're going to bill. And so is it really cost a lot? No, probably in the big picture, it doesn't cost very much to keep this child alive. But the problem is the constant struggle between paying for all of this high tech machinery that we've got, and all of this staff. It costs hundreds of thousands of dollars to educate these doctors and these nurses and all these people that, the money that goes into them. Now you got to pay their salaries versus, what the insurance company does not want to pay out any more than they have to. So that's, I think, just a big problem in our healthcare model that we've got right now.
So aren't doctors caught between a rock and a hard place? If their Hippocratic oath says do no harm, I think unplugging the machine and killing somebody before you know that they can't be helped is kind of doing harm, isn't it?
It is doing harm. So you're right. They are stuck between a rock and a hard place, because you've got, on one hand, hopefully this doctor wants to stay true to the reason why he got into medicine, and that is to help people and to, as the Hippocratic oath says, do no harm, but actually do good for people. But then on the other side of the doctor, you've got the board of directors at the hospital saying, we need to turn a profit.
Well, wait a minute, but Kaiser Permanente is a non-profit organization.
Well, they may be non-profit, but that doesn't mean that they can just throw money out the window. There's,
that's true.
even a non-profit organization, they still have to cover their expenses. They still have to pay for this machine that's keeping this little baby alive. It's still, they've got to cover the expense, whether it's paid for.
Then why is it that Loma Linda University and I forget the one that's in Kentucky that Danny Thomas founded? What's the other big children's hospitals? I'm sorry.
Like I say, I can't think of it.
Yeah, I can't think of it right off either. In any event, why is it that they say that money is not an issue? If you can't pay, you don't pay. And there's the thing. Where does humanity end here? It seems to me,
and it could be maybe they have donors who are willing to front the costs for, like going to the Ronald McDonald House or something like that.
That's what nonprofit hospitals have.
Well, yeah, I would think that. Yeah, I just don't understand the politics enough to really explain why. There has to come a point, obviously, where you got to say, look, doctor, this is your job. I know that it's just an extreme case, but is the baby brain dead or not? Can we recover this life? Because even if you go, the baby isn't brain dead right now. Keeping someone on life support for an extended period of time, statistically speaking, the longer someone's on life support, the less chance normal recovery.
You and I are never going to agree on this. As long as the baby is alive and is viable, it seems to me you do everything that's why you send them to the hospital. That's why you pay for insurance.
Trust me, I get it, but how many millions of dollars does it have to run? What if you could keep this child alive until it was, until it was
You're talking to a guy that is incensed by the fact that the two people that are running for president of the United States are going to spend over $2 billion a piece by the time this thing's all done to get a job that pays $450,000 a year.
Oh, yeah.
So let's put that in perspective.
And one of them has even said that he would do it for free.
Yeah. So keep that in mind. We have to go on a break, but when you come back, I got another question for you, and that is that right. I didn't even realize this, that almost half of heart attacks are what they call silent, even though they're still risky. Silent meaning that most people don't even know they've had them, not necessarily that they happen at night. And I want to talk to you a little bit about that when we come back, if that's okay.
Sounds great.
All right, we'll be right back with our own Sean LaFave in the Geared for Wellness Corner. We'll be talking about silent heart attacks when we come back. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. You know what? We've got our own Sean LaFave here with us. I was telling him just before we went on our break that almost half of heart attacks are silent, but they're still risky. You know what they're saying, Sean? They're saying that you may not, even though you're awake and cognizant, not necessarily sleep, although I guess a lot of heart attacks happen that way. If I have a fatal one, that's when I want it to take place while I'm asleep, by the way. Anyway, but people don't even know they've had them until they've had an EKG or something else. Turns out that the most prominent of these, only about 40% of these happen in white men, but well over 50% in black women have these silent heart attacks. Why are they silent? They give no symptoms, no nothing, and you don't even know that this happened. And yet, what I've read here says they're every bit as dangerous as the one that gives you the signals.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. The most common, I guess, symptom, if you will, of having a heart attack, of symptoms that we know, that we actually feel or express or whatever you want to call it, is actually the person dies. That's the number one. Most people, when they have a heart attack, they end up dead. That's a pretty
specific symptom, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a pretty specific one. Yeah, everything shuts down. So that symptom, that one, someone, you may not realize you had a heart attack, but someone's going to know for sure. But the ones that are, I mean, that's funny to anyone who's had to deal with that. But for those who are asymptomatic, yeah, it happens a lot. And you're right, it's called a silent heart attack. It's just like people who have, there's a lot of diseases like diabetes, has always been called the silent killer, because you can be diabetic for years and not know it, and this whole time your body is just eating itself up from the inside. At a cellular level, it's creating all this inflammation, it's creating all this destruction, loss of ability to revitalize, to restore, to rebuild cells and do those things. And so what happens is the same thing can happen. It's kind of like what happens is your heart, like it's almost like it gets a lack of oxygen flow. Just like, when you have a necrosis, they call it, of a specific body part that's caused by a lack of blood flow to that area.
Hold on. You need, not everybody knows what necrosis is. You need to.
So necrosis means tissue death.
Okay.
So when a part of the body dies, like you'll see like a really extreme example is someone who has had diabetes for years. You see like the bottom of their legs. They end up typically getting their legs cut off at about the midway portion. But if you look, you'll see someone who's had diabetes for maybe decades, and the from below the knees, where their calves and ankles are, is all swollen and purple, and the skin is all dried and cracked, and it looks horrible. It looks absolutely horrific, which it is absolutely horrific. But what that is that's literally the tissue dying in that person's legs, and that's a type of necrosis. And so what happens is eventually it becomes so bad that in order to save the rest of the body, they have to cut the legs off if the person wants to continue living any farther, because it'll continue to poison the body. So you can get necrosis from, lack of blood flow is usually one of the biggest ways. And
well, let me ask. Let me
get that to the heart, and it damages the heart.
Let me ask you this. A person can actually maintain a healthy diet, exercise, do all these things, and still have heart disease, can't they?
Yeah, you certainly are going to lessen your chance of having heart disease if you're eating, when you say, it depends on how you define healthy, like
I'm thinking of baked potato and steaks and butter.
Yeah, like even a baked potato, for instance. And those are, we would, especially if you, we all, a lot of us here said we all, but I grew up eating potatoes kind of guy too. And so those of us who grew up that way, we consider that a healthy diet. But a baked potato, especially nowadays, unfortunately, it's very high on what they call a glycemic index. It means it metabolizes quickly. It's basically like eating sugar at that point.
Well, Sean, I'm thinking that my baked potato isn't the problem. It's the pound of butter I put in it.
Actually, the baked potato is usually the problem.
Oh.
Most people, when you're yeah, I know. It's funny. It's kind of the opposite of what we've been taught.
Yeah.
In fact, I was just having, a Facebook conversation with some people about this, the last couple of days, about how, I think we talked about this on Thursday, how the FDA is trying to redefine, their definition of the word healthy, because they can take Frosted Flakes and say that by definition, according to the FDA, that it's a healthy food.
Yeah, we talked about this on Thursday, didn't we?
Right, we did on Thursday, yeah. And how that avocados can't get that status, nor can nuts and seeds. Well, we all know that avocados are good for you. We know that nuts and seeds are good for you. But by definition, by legal FDA standards, you can't promote those foods as healthy, because the FDA has spent so much time focusing on eating a low-fat diet that they've really missed the point of the various types of calories and how healthy they really are for you. And so someone thinks low-fat, they think, like you said, the potato is good for me, but the butter is bad. Well, for a person who has inflammation or a heart condition going on, especially something like high cholesterol, even, believe it or not, the potato is going to make that progress even further than the butter will, especially if it's, and when you eat butter, you also have to go, okay, it's got to be real butter, not margarine, and you want it from cows that are fed grass instead of grain, and, it's better if the cow was never fed,
what's in the potato that's the problem? The starch?
Yeah, it's the starch. Yeah, that's what it's a potato. Like a sweet potato is even better than say a russet potato, because your body's able to metabolize. A lot of people don't even like the skins. They'll eat the baked potato, leave the skin behind, and toss it. And to me, I'm like, that's the best part of it.
And that's where all the vitamins are too, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's where most of its nutrition is. Mm-hmm. And so you're throwing away the real valuable part, the fiber, which is going to slow down the digestion process. But that white, fluffy mashed potatoes that we make, that sugar, if you will, it's a carbohydrate. It's not a simple sugar, but it is broken down rapidly in the body. And because it creates such an insulin spike, it actually will lead to further inflammation. So typically when a person has high cholesterol, for instance, you don't want to take them off of cholesterol producing foods. I know that's why cholesterol producing is a bad choice to use. You don't need to take them off of foods that are naturally high in cholesterol. You need to take them usually off of foods that are very high in sugar or simple carbohydrates that metabolize quickly, because that leads to inflammation. Cholesterol is produced by the body to drive down inflammation. And so the real problem of heart disease isn't the cholesterol, it's the inflammation that the cholesterol is trying to fight. And so when you think of, what our FDA has been telling us, eat low-fat foods, and people have been, one of the examples that I used, I had this conversation with someone, literally this was almost 20 years ago, I had this discussion with someone, and he was eating low-fat peanut butter. And what they did was, if you, of course, natural peanut butter, if you take it, the oil separates, it goes to the top. They pour the oil out, and then they replace it with high fructose corn syrup, so it gives it that same peanut butter consistency when you mix it back in, and it also makes it a little sweeter, so it's more yummy to eat. And his argument was, this is lower in fat, makes it better for me. And I said, no, all you did was you took out natural, healthy fats that are good for you, and you replaced it with high fructose corn syrup, which is bad for you, that leads to inflammation. And he just, I told him, I said, the only time you can eat this and say that it maybe is the better option is if you're playing soccer all day long and you're out running nonstop or something like that. But that was an argument that he couldn't grasp that, because we've been so brainwashed, low fat, low fat, low fat. We've heard it so many times that anytime someone says,
Take a breath. Speaking of stopping, we have got to stop. We're 2 minutes over. So listen, but we got 18 minutes when we come back. We'll be right back with our own Sean LaFave in the Geared for Wellness Corner. Don't go away, folks.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, & Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Sean LaFave in the Geared for Wellness Corner. So, Sean, when I left you, did you get to finish that thought, or are you ready to move on to one more thing?
Well, yeah. No, I think we can move on. I guess I'll wrap it up because I kind of left a little bit hanging. But basically, silent heart attack, is what we were talking about, and really, if you don't have any symptoms, either A, there wasn't enough damage to really affect your life, or two, you're so sedentary that you just don't notice the damage. And so, the one thing is, maybe you need to become a little bit more active to find out if you've actually had one of these silent heart attacks or not. And, if you notice that you can't exert yourself and without getting short-winded very rapidly, then there might be a problem. But if you can still go out and run and bike and these things, then one of these silent heart attacks might not be such a bad thing. The cool thing is the human body, when given the tools, and this is where we go back to, you still need to eat healthy, even if you have a predisposition towards these things. Being fatalistic is not the way to approach it. But eating healthy is going to give your body the tools that it needs to repair. And the heart, even the heart, I mean, I've seen it. Patients who had hearts that they were told would never heal. And healing came, 100% healing. So you can heal a damaged heart, you can heal a damaged lung, pancreas. It doesn't matter what you've got, as long as there's any function left, that body part can heal. So eating a healthy diet, and that includes, obviously, I'm a big proponent of a plant-based diet. You've got to get your vegetables. There's just no way around it. And, the right kinds of meats and the right kinds of fats and the right kind of starches and so on are gonna get you to where you need to be to bring about that healing and to recover from things like silent heart attacks that you didn't even know you had.
Well, it's just when you think about the heart, it's just a scary thing when you think about it, especially when you start looking at your twilight years, sort of, when you get up into my age bracket, you're looking at the twilight years of your life, you start thinking about, what is it that's going to cause my demise? Is it going to be my heart, or everything else is just going to wear out? Who knows? Anyway. Listen, I'm gonna call this exciting, and I don't mean this in a humorous way at all, because I'm serious about it. We in the United States have finally had our very, very first penis transplant. And while I'm really not laughing. In this particular case, it was a guy that had contracted cancer and had his genitals amputated, and wound up going through a 15-hour operation, and this fellow looks like he's not only going to be able to urinate normally now, but he may even be able to have some kind of a sex life as this progresses. And the wonderful part about it is not just for this particular patient, and I'm not putting this down, but they were talking about our warriors that have been maimed by these roadside bombs and things like that we can actually make whole again. I think this is a fantastic thing, and it also solves one of the transgender problems. I can understand that it's a little easier to for transgenders to go from male to female, but it's been almost impossible to go the other way around, and this helps to accommodate that as well. This thing was saying that worldwide there have been faces and tongues and hands and legs and uteruses, and now actually the very first penis transplant, I texted you on it, I think over the weekend or whatever it was, but since I texted you, they've had 3 more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's crazy. Once you get the ball rolling on stuff, anything that, it's like when Roger Bannister ran the 4-minute mile. When someone proves you can do it, bam, everybody wants to jump on board and get it done. So, I'm sure we're going to be hearing about a lot of them.
Well, it's funny. There's so many things going on. I mean, and not just that, because and I'm really not laughing at this. I think this is something really serious. But the researchers.
Well, I gotta say though, as much as this is a very serious matter and it's not a laughing matter, people are going through it, so you might as well. I just think it's funny that the main physician involved, his name was Dr. Dickon Toe. Like, that's just like was that intentional? Did someone go, wait a minute, we got to get how do you find the guy who does the first penis transplant and his first name is Dickon? It's just crazy. Anyway, that part I had to laugh.
Oh yeah, no, and you're right. I had a whole plethora of jokes that I could have told on this, and I decided against it. But I can tell you, in the same article, they're saying that research is ongoing for eyeballs, and there's an Italian doctor who's raised the eyebrows with talk of a brain transplant. I mean, this is becoming, unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, someday we're going to be able to make Frankenstein. Who knows what the possibilities are. When we talk about they call it a head transplant. I like preferably to call it a body transplant. But they put a new head on a new body, and And so there's an old head on an old body, but they're both still functioning. But yeah,
so I mean, if they were going to do a brain transplant, why wouldn't they just do the head transplant? I suppose you keep the facial features and everything else if you just do a brain transplant. But I can't imagine how
that'd be weird though. Imagine if you had a brain transplant, all of a sudden, if the brain still has all the memories intact, you're going to open your eyes and go, "Who's this guy?"
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
you're going to be looking at yourself going, "Wow, man, either I got ugly or I got better looking." You know, maybe,
but isn't that
maybe they can take Einstein's brain and put it in someone like Brad Pitt? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Isn't that true? I mean, if you do if a brain is like a hard drive from a computer, you can switch it from one computer to the next, but the next computer is only going to have the information that was in that.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's a hard drive transfer. Exactly. Yeah. That would be interesting. It would be interesting to see how a person would respond to wake up to a completely new person that they're inside of.
Well, here's one that I think you're going to support. And that there's a tax measure that could cause financial jolt to California smokers. The campaign to raise California's cigarette tax by $2 a pack. And that would make a pack of cigarettes $7.50.
Yeah, I don't know how people can afford it at $5.50. You know, That's unbelievable.
Years ago, I used to smoke. I mean, I'm talking about years ago, 50 years ago, I used to smoke. And a carton of cigarettes was $4.50.
Yeah, a carton. And was that 10 packs?
Yes, 10 packs.
Yeah, 10 packs. Yeah, so it was less than it was not even 50 cents a pack. Yeah, that's unbelievable. $7.50. Obviously I'm all for it. I have no problem with it because one, I'm not a smoker, and two, any way that you can get taxes off of someone who's doing something that's harming themselves, one, you're going to generate a lot of revenue because they call it the elasticity of demand for every product has an elasticity of demand, meaning the more you raise the price, the more demand goes down.
But you know what? But what happens?
The elasticity.
What happens, Sean, when they raise the price of cigarettes and it becomes as costly as narcotics and pills and drugs and stuff like that, and people can no longer afford them, so they start committing crimes to get money to buy their cigarettes?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it would be a big problem, wouldn't it? But I don't know. That's an interesting way of looking at it. But I don't know. I can
guarantee you this:
are addicting enough that people would do that. Maybe they are. I really don't know.
Oh yeah, they are. They are. Take it from me. And here's the thing: at what point I can guarantee you this: the people that want to tack on this $2 a pack to the cigarettes, they're non-smokers that want to do it. It's not smokers who want to do it.
Of course. So, no one wants to tax themselves.
I support non-smoking. And I mean, there's nothing worse than a reformed smoker. I can tell you that, Sean. And the thing is, though, I think that it's wrong to just price these people out of something like that to cause even the potential of more harm being done. They're already doing it. They already know what the cause and effect are. They already know that it's contributory to cancer, more than contributory. Probably it causes cancer, and they elect to do it anyway. You know what? And so So they raise the price $2. What have they done? Have they just created more crime in the United States because people can't wean themselves? I can tell you, my brother is a chain smoker. The guy has quit smoking, I'll bet you 30, 40 times successfully. Oh. Between cigarettes. And no, but successfully, he'll stop for a week, but then he goes right back again. When I stopped smoking, I stopped. That was over. It was done. And I used to admit to 3 packs a day. So, I mean, I was a smoker.
Wow.
Yeah, well, but I'd have 3 or 4 cigarettes burning in different ashtrays all around where they were going, because I would be smoking and I'd get called and I'd leave the cigarette in the ashtray, and when I'd go to the next place I get done, I'd light up another cigarette, and so but I used to admit to about 3 packs a day. So I was a real legitimate smoker, and quitting was not an easy thing to do. It's just because I was stubborn and wasn't going to let what at that time was a penny cigarette control my life. But it is addicting, and it's addicting to the point where people that, these nicotine patches, we and I've talked about this, and these e-cigarettes, that doesn't solve the problem. If people want to smoke, they're going to smoke, and if you try to price them out of it, they're going to steal to get the money to smoke.
Yeah, I can see how that would increase crime. And I'm curious because I know that the elasticity of demand for cigarettes it's very elastic. You can raise the price tremendously and only have a small decrease in demand for cigarettes, unlike something like broccoli, where you triple the price of broccoli and demand is going to plummet for it, but not so much with cigarettes. But I'm curious how that would affect crime, because I think with something like marijuana, making marijuana more expensive, I don't think would increase crime rate. But things like meth or these opiates or morphine or whatever someone's addicted to, they're going to do whatever they can for it.
So let me ask you, what
drive that behavior? But I don't know if smoking would.
Because I don't know what the equivalent of when you buy marijuana cigarettes, are they already made, or do you buy the weeds and roll your own? If they're already made, do they come in packs of 10? And if they come in packs of 10, what do they charge you for a pack as opposed to a pack of cigarettes?
Yeah, no, I don't know. That's.
I'm glad you don't know that.
I have no idea. That's a Colorado question. Everyone that I know, I know several people out here who have either they can get they have a card for they can either purchase the marijuana, and they when they get it, it's just loose leaf. It's not rolled up into a cigarette, but they can also get the oil too, where they actually. I don't know how they reduce it down by boiling it through with something, and it pulls the oils out of it. And I guess that's actually a very effective way of taking it, where you don't have to smoke it. But I've never seen anyone who purchased it and it was already rolled into a cigarette. Now, maybe in Colorado where it's more recreational, maybe they might do that. I don't know.
Well, I got one more for you, and by the way, I do believe that raising the pack of cigarettes $2 a pack, taking it to $7.50 a pack, is going to increase the crime rate, because there are people that just can't. They're smokers, and they just don't have the money. They can't do it. Although I would think $4.50 a pack would already be the deterrent.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but I can see how it would increase the crime rate. I'm just not sure how much. That's interesting. I would have never that thought process would have never crossed my mind.
Yeah, I mean, you start talking about the crime rate, and then what is the punishment for the crime rate? Do you get incarcerated? And then what's the cost of incarceration? It's sort of like these white collar crimes with regard to drugs and things like that. We have more drug dealers behind bars. We're paying for 3 square meals a day, medical attention. We pay for everything. Their recreation. We pay for everything. Room and board, the whole 9 yards. And what we ought to be doing is trying to solve the problem, not just incarcerate them. It's more costly to keep them behind bars than it is to put them through treatments. Matter of fact, it's probably more costly to put them behind bars than it is to provide them with whatever drugs they were using.
Yeah, it's the whole war on drugs thing is just, when you talk to people who are in that arena that are involved in that process, it's such a huge scam. I was talking to a guy who actually is an attorney, and he has worked with a lot of these rehab places, and he said the scams in these rehab places are unbelievable. He goes, the lawsuits against them, it's never ending. He goes, you can have a practice doing just that, and you will get so wealthy doing it, because the scams behind these what they do is people go out, they buy a house, they rent out, get a big house with a bunch of rooms, they pay a nurse to come in, they rent out the rooms, and on, and and he said it's an unbelievable scam. So what we call the war on drugs, and we talked about this I think even last week, our prescription drugs, whether they're prescribed properly or it's taken, out of context, for recreational purposes, are killing more people than both heroin and cocaine combined. Yeah. And so we know that our war on drugs is really, it's almost a facade. There's a huge problem going on.
Yeah, you know what? It's a catch-22. You just don't, it's what came first, the chicken or the egg. The war on drugs is ridiculous. I'm not so sure that sometimes that we're not causing more problems than what, if we left it alone, would have caused. Leaving it alone isn't the solution, because then you have the illegal part of that is nothing but crime. And I don't mean the illegal selling of it. I mean the fact that they're bringing it across the borders, they're killing people, they're getting people hooked on more dangerous things. Obviously, anybody that smoked marijuana will tell you one story, because they smoke marijuana, and that it's not addicting and it's not all these things, and or that there are benefits to marijuana. And I can tell you that my wife had an aunt that had cancer, and marijuana absolutely did help settle her stomach from all the chemo and all the stuff that she had to go through. So it's pretty hard to deny somebody that. You and I have talked about it. When you have a catastrophic disease like that, I think you got to be able to give them anything they want to do that settles them down, gives them any kind of peace whatsoever. On the other hand, anything leading to more strenuous stuff like heroin and meth and that kind of stuff, I've got mixed emotions. Those are addictions that really don't provide any benefit, unless, if you're in a hospital and you're taking morphine because you've had an operation and you're in horrible pain, I think it's pretty difficult to get addicted to something that you're taking because of a necessity if they wean you off of it properly or manage it properly. But I think that people that are on this stuff and then almost immediately they have to continue taking it to feel the way they felt before they started taking it to start with, those people need help.
Yeah, I've only been in the hospital once as an adult, and I was in for 2 days, and they gave me, and it was for really just excruciating low back pain, which they never did figure out what it was. They just assumed it was some sort of a virus and called it good, and it ran its course. But it was unbelievably painful. On a scale of 1 to 10, it was, I don't know if a 10 really feels like, but this was 9.9 if it wasn't 10.
Yeah.
But they gave me Dilaudid when I was in the hospital.
Oh yeah, I've had that too. That stuff's wonderful.
Oh my gosh. I know intellectually in my mind this stuff is bad for you. This is a horrible drug that you can have access to. But man, it makes you feel it literally. The best way that I could explain it for no one who's ever had it, it feels like someone takes a bucket of euphoria and just pours it on your head, and you can feel it literally just washing over your body, and like all of the tension just dissipates. You can feel individual muscle fibers.
They shove you in a shower full of I don't give a damn.
Oh yeah.
No. Hey, hold that thought. I'll let you talk after this commercial break. We'll be right. Okay. We'll be right back with our own Sean LaFave in the Geared for Wellness Corner and his addictions right after these breaks. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Sean LaFave with his Geared for Wellness Corner. You know, Sean, I start this show every day, and I watch the minutes go by counting the seconds, and it goes by. 2 hours is a long time to try and fill in and do a show. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, you get on the air, and the damn clock becomes a fan.
Yeah, it does go by fast. It does. But we were talking about, speaking of time going by fast, we were talking about drugs.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I just wanted to wrap that up. So Dilaudid, man, that stuff is, wow. I mean, you do, like you said, it's a bucket of I don't give a whatever. Yeah. And you just, I mean, the world is a good place. I remember there was a nurse came in to draw blood, and I just remember looking at her and thinking she was so beautiful. You're like, oh, she's just so beautiful. She could have been horrendous looking. You know, you just, like, everything in your world is happy. It doesn't matter what it is. But this is last year sometime. I had a friend of mine that I was hanging out with, and his dad had just passed away, and I think he had cancer, if I remember correctly. But he was on all types of pain medications. And he's like, man, he goes, my dad, passed away here recently. And he goes, I'm kind of cleaning all this. So he goes, he's got like literally bottles of drugs that they had him on. And he shows me, and there was a full bottle of Dilaudid. He's like, hey, Rob, check this out. He's like, you want a bottle of Dilaudid? I said, no. I said, don't even come near me with that stuff. I said, do I want it? Absolutely, because I know how it would make me feel. But the last thing I want to do is have access to it in any way, because I guarantee you I would get totally hooked on it.
Yeah, you're probably the same way as me. Unfortunately, I have been in the hospital a number of times, and nothing, just for whatever reasons. And the thing is that when they say they're going to give you something for pain, it actually scares me. I'm very concerned about it. I know that I don't want to get addicted to anything. I think I may have even mentioned this to you last time we talked, and that is I've got a really high tolerance for pain, and I would rather endure the pain than the remote chance that I might get addicted. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't ever want to take one of these drugs and go home with it. If they want to give it to me in an IV while I'm in the hospital so that I can't put a connection on how to get myself hooked up with it, that's fine. But yeah, when this guy says, dude, I've got some Dilaudid, I'm like, nope, don't even want to smell it. Just keep it away from me because I know how good that stuff makes me feel. Like I don't want it at all. Don't even want to touch it. Yeah, it is scary to think. Like that's, I've said this a million times. I understand why people do certain drugs. Like I get it. People smoke pot or maybe they do mushrooms. I've never done mushrooms. I did smoke weed for like a really short period of time. I actually did it for pain reduction. It wasn't even for pleasure, although it does make you feel good. But
okay, so I don't know. I mean, when you say mushroom, are you talking about the kind of mushroom that I cook and put in food?
No, they do. I'm surprised. Man, you're from that era. I figured you would know. I've talked to people who've done it, and they'll do. So there are mushrooms out there that make you. They're like hallucinogenic mushrooms. Oh. And they put you on a really cool trip, from what I understand. And like I said, I've never done them. One guy that I knew, he said they do is they boiled them in water because it extracts all of the chemical component that gives you the hallucinations. And he goes, but it tastes horrible, so then they would mix it with grape Kool-Aid and drink it.
Oh, jeez.
But there's all kinds of things. There's ecstasy and stuff. But some of these drugs, I get it. Okay, people try it because a lot of them aren't really that addicting. But when it's stuff like these, these opioids, the like Dilaudid or like, a lot of these prescription painkillers, and especially something like meth, I just think, why do people even try it the first time? Yeah. Like that's what kills me is I understand why people are addicted, but why the first time? The first time you got to not be in your right mind to go, hey, let's smoke some meth. This sounds like a good idea. There's no rational process that makes that sound like a good idea.
No, it's somebody that sucks you into it. He's a drug user that becomes a drug dealer so that he can make money to use more drugs. And they go to these parties and they hook you on this stuff purposely, and that's how these people wind up getting their lives ruined.
Yeah, and it's unbelievable to me. It's just the damage that. So yeah, stuff like that. Like I've said a million times, there's the vast majority of those drugs out there. Man, I don't even want to touch them. Don't want to be around them. I don't want to be in the same room with them. I don't want to. Like this is it's too scary of a thought to think. What would happen? I mean, this destroys people's lives. Their lives literally are ruined forever. Some people. So yeah, it's scary stuff. But anyway, speaking of opioid receptors, we were talking about that the other day. Mm-hmm. And so, of course, I wanted to. We'll have to wait till Thursday at this point, but I wanted to talk about really what's
well, you got 8 minutes
into next Tuesday.
Yeah, no, you've got 8 minutes. Yeah.
Well, so we'll see if I ever actually get to talk completely about this. But basically, kind of where health comes from, and what's the difference between causing good health and feeling good as opposed to actually being healthy. Because we all know someone who seems to be in apparently good health, was active and living seemed like a good life, and go to the doctor one day and say you've got cancer and you've got 3-6 months to live. The person felt good. Nothing seemed wrong. I had an uncle that was like that. He was an avid cyclist. He rode his bike all the time, and literally went into the doctors for, I think it was just a normal checkup, and 2 months later he was dead from cancer. And in fact, I was there was a story. I think it was in Wichita where this happened. A young kid, 16, the whole family got sick. Like flu type stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And within 2 or 3 days, like a normal flu, the family recovered, but the son didn't. He was 16 years old, I think. And he got worse. And then he got even worse. And they said, gosh, something's wrong. They took him to the doctor. And I can't remember exactly what he got in his system, but 2 days after they took him to the doctor, he was gone.
Oh,
a week prior. Yeah, could you imagine how heart-wrenching that would be? Like a week ago, you had a healthy boy. And everybody got sick from the flu. Well, something he did recover 2 days later is gone. I mean, I can't even, as a parent, I can't even imagine. So, so when we talk about, people talk about health, what is health? What's it mean to be healthy? I would get people that come to me all the time and they'll say, oh, this is what's going on and this is what I want to take care of. And they'll give me a list of their symptoms. They'll give me a list of drugs that they're taking, prescription medications for diabetes, for blood pressure, or whatever the case might be. And then at the end, they'll say, but, I'm generally overall a healthy person. I'm going, you just listed like 15 symptoms that you're expressing and 3 prescription medications you're on, and you're telling me that overall you're a healthy person. Well, those don't, but we've been trained in our culture to believe that as long as you are asymptomatic or your symptoms are mild, that you're healthy, even if it's because the drug is what's suppressing that symptom. And so I was reading today on pregnancy, and what I was really trying to figure out was actually how children are affected by what their mom eats, not health-wise, but more so in how their taste buds operate throughout childhood. So if my mom eats something when she's pregnant, how is that going to affect me growing up? How is it going to affect my diet? And what the studies are all showing, just like unambiguously, is if you eat healthy as a parent, your child is going to actually acquire a taste for those foods and will desire those foods as a child and into adulthood. And one very specific study, they just took something as simple as carrot juice, and they had 3 sets of moms. 1/3 of the moms got carrot juice in the last trimester of pregnancy. And then before and after that, just water or anything but carrot juice, right? So then they drank water even while they were breastfeeding. Third set of the moms got no carrot juice while they were pregnant, but during breastfeeding were given carrot juice. And then the third 1/3 of the moms never received any carrot juice during pregnancy or breastfeeding. And then once the children all got old enough to eat solid foods, they gave them 2 different kinds of cereal, carrot juice flavored cereal and plain flavored cereal. And the kids who were never exposed to carrot juice made significantly more, because you can't ask a kid, do you like this or not, but you can watch their facial expressions. Mm-hmm. They made more negative facial expressions when eating the carrot juice flavored cereal than the kids who had been exposed, whether it was exposed during pregnancy or during breastfeeding. The kids who were exposed to carrot juice made far less negative facial expressions when eating the carrot juice flavored cereal as opposed to the plain. And so what they're saying, and there's several other studies like that, but that's one specific. But what they're saying is, if you as a mom are eating junk food while you're pregnant, what happens is foods nowadays that are processed, they're engineered. They're designed to make you feel good when you eat them. They're designed to make you feel happy. They figure out the right amount of fat and sugar and salt and all these different flavorings that go into it. So it actually literally stimulates opioid production in your body. So it floods your opioid receptors. So you eat a Snickers, as the commercials say, and you go from being, the grumpy, sergeant that's yelling at everyone, to now you're the nice, sweet guy that's just chill and happy because you got your fix. Well, a lot of foods are like that. They actually make you feel happy. And so people will say, gosh, this food, I like this food. This is the kind of food that makes me feel happy. I want to eat more of this food. Well, if you eat those foods while you're pregnant, it stimulates the opioid receptors in the baby as well. And so what happens is now this child is born with a lower resistance to opiate production in its own body. So where someone who could, if you ate a lot of carrots and broccoli and stuff like that when you're pregnant, your child might be able to eat carrots and broccoli, and that was enough to stimulate opiate production in the body to stimulate those opioid receptors to make the child feel good. Well, the child whose mom ate the junk food isn't going to get that stimulation from broccoli. And like maybe George Bush's mom didn't eat broccoli when she was pregnant. You know what I'm saying? Barbara Bush.
I know who she is.
but maybe she didn't eat broccoli.
Listen, here's the deal. I don't think Barbara Bush breastfed George because he'd have never left.
Yeah. I tell you what, I would have voted for her for president. I think I still would. I love Barbara Bush. She's one of my all-time favorite first ladies.
You know what? My thoughts of her went up tenfold when she said that we didn't need another Bush in the White House.
Talking about Jeb, I agree with her too. But But the point is, good health starts from even before you're born. It starts with your mom's diet. And really, so when people talk about, when diet and exercise fail, well, the fact is they don't fail ever. But the problem is we don't give them a chance, because if you have grown so used to eating food that is genetically or engineered somehow, with a blend of all these things, and it's put into a box or a package. So now when you eat it, it makes you feel happy. You're never going to be happy eating something like a vegetable, because it doesn't stimulate you. I can remember when I did this fast for 40 days. When I was done, carrots tasted sweet. Like things like raspberries, I can eat more than probably 4 or 5 of them, because they were so overbearingly sweet. It was like eating like a mouthful of sweet tarts every time I would eat one of these things. So when you get away from eating foods that are designed, engineered to stimulate your opioid receptors in your brain, you actually can get back to the point to where things like carrots actually do taste sweet, and they do make you happy, and so does broccoli and asparagus and all these other things as well.
Do you have a mirror? Do you have a mirror? Do you have a mirror where? Do you have a mirror where you're at?
No, I don't, because I would just I'm so good looking that if I had a mirror, I would. Well, I was just
wondering, because you haven't taken a breath in about 20 minutes. I was wondering if you were turning blue.
I can go look.
So listen, are we going to talk about good health then on Thursday?
Yeah, so Thursday, we'll just kind of continue off from where I just launched here. Is really, so where does good health come from? And I know that we said Thursday, we said we were going to talk about that today, but we'll hopefully get to it on this Thursday about really, what is it? Everything from structurally in our body to chemically in our body to the diet that we eat and everything else. What is it that actually gives us health? Where does it really truly come from? So that's a topic I love to talk about.
Okay, then that's a topic I'd love to talk to you about. And then starting on Thursday, I think I'm going to eliminate that mid-commercial and do something else with it, so that it just seems like those first 2 segments just fly out of here. And I'm going to try
shot.
Yeah, so I'm going to try and alter that a little bit, see what I can do with it. In any event, you have a wonderful evening, have a wonderful week. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll talk to you on Thursday.
You too, Robert. Thanks. I had a great time.
All right. Thank you. The rest of you folks, don't go away. When we come back, we'll be doing the birthdays for the day, the secret daily teaching for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. We'll be right back. We got a lot of great show left for you.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics, where at 4:42 p.m. Pacific time, it's currently 78 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's down from 79 degrees and is going to on its way to 56 degrees. Now, if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Rome, Italy, well, it's 54 degrees and clear. And if you're in London, England, it's 55 degrees and clear. But right now, I'll tell you what the time is. It's time for the Harvard Business Tip of the Day. You know, by the way, coming up right after this segment is going to be our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. You don't want to miss it. Today's story is going to be another one of those that just kind of grabs you. We're going to talk about Dr. Bell is alive and well. I'll tell you all about that right after this. Now, let's get to the Harvard Business Tip of the Day. The management tip today is how to stop a conversation meltdown. Yep. You know, conversational disasters are more reversible than they feel. Here are 6 things that can halt and sometimes reverse a conversation meltdown. On your part, take responsibility for your actions, as in, I'm getting loud and aggressive. I'm sorry. I don't want this to be a competition. Or offer safety. Say something like, I am committed to making this work for both of us. Or point out the default future. Say, I don't like where this is going. I'm guessing you don't either. Can we try a different tack here? Or talk about rules. Say, can we take a time out? Perhaps we could discuss some ground rules for this negotiation. Or change the pace. A fast-moving conversation reinforces feelings of panic or threat, so slow it down. And then finally, refocus on agreement, not argument. Say, can I pause for a moment and point out what we both agree on? Then enumerate common interests, beliefs, and histories. That, my friends, is how to stop a conversation meltdown. Because you want it to be progressive. You want to get it to keep moving along. Now, it is time for our secret daily teaching for your life. And you know, it's all about a positive mental attitude. I tell you that all the time. You really do decide whether you're going to be healthy or ill, whether you're going to be rich or poor, whether you're going to be successful or a failure. You're going to decide whether you're happy or you're sad, and that goes for the people around you too. It's all about that positive mental attitude. You've got a tremendous amount of power. Now, the teaching for today is your current reality or your current life is a result of the thoughts that you have been thinking. All of that will totally change as you begin to change your thoughts and your feelings. You are in total control. Don't ever, ever, ever forget that. Now, you know what today is? Sure you do. Today is Tuesday. It's May the 17th, and it is somebody's birthday. And we've got some terrific birthdays for today, and you know, we might as well just get right to them instead of wasting time with them. First one off, this is a guy that hopefully you all know who he is. He was born in 1936. Many dramatic roles. One of his biggest was Easy Rider and Speed. Happy birthday, Dennis Hopper. And fellow born in 1955, an actor and film director, currently starring in Big Love. Happy birthday, Bill Paxton. And then here's somebody, boy, even my wife liked this guy. I like this guy. It's hard for anybody not to like this guy. He was born in 1956. An American boxer. Happy birthday, Sugar Ray Leonard. Yeah, what a personality. And here's a fellow that we all like, recently just changed his career around a little bit. He was born in 1962, a Scottish actor and a comedian. And happy birthday to Craig Ferguson. And then finally, here's a gentleman that was born in 1965, 9 Inch Nails band leader. Happy birthday, Trent Reznor. Boy, it was all men today, huh? No women born on the 17th of May? How about this? What happened today in history? On May 17th, 1983, Lebanon, Israel, and the United States signed an agreement on Israeli withdrawal from Lebanon. And in 1995, after 18 years as the mayor of Paris, Jacques Chirac takes office as president of France. That's the way I should have said it. In 2006, the aircraft carrier USS Oriskany is sunk in the Gulf of Mexico to be an artificial reef. There you go. Well, you know what? The quote for today comes from Barbara Hall, and Barbara says, "You're alive. Do something. The directive in life, the moral imperative, was so uncomplicated, it could be expressed in single words, not complete sentences. It sounded like this: look, listen, choose, act." Make sense? Sure it does. Well, time for those interesting but useless facts. Let's get on them. First one up is, each king in a deck of playing cards represents a great king from history. Spades, King David. Hearts, Charlemagne. Clubs, Alexander the Great. And then diamonds, Julius Caesar. Did you know that? I didn't know that. Kind of interesting if you think about it. How about this? Before 1859, baseball umpires sat in a padded rocking chair behind the catcher. That would have been interesting to see, don't you think? Yeah. How about this one? Snakes are carnivores. That means they're meat eaters. Yeah, snakes. So when you go walking down that trail and they're hidden under a rock next to some bushes, know that they're thinking about you. And how about this one? An Athens legislator named Solon passed a law in the 6th century that let fathers sell their fornicating daughters into slavery. I don't think that's so funny. How about this? 40% of all fish species inhabit fresh water, yet less than 1/100th of 1% of the Earth's water is fresh water. Now that is really, really interesting. Let me leave you with this one. Spartacus led the revolt of the Roman slaves and gladiators in 73 AD. Don't you know that? Well, you know what? I will give you one more. You know, your sense of time is in your head. How you experience time is all about your perception. Some speculate that stress can help you experience time dilation. Apparently, time manipulation isn't just for superheroes. There, that tells you what's going on. Now, do not go away. When we come back, we're going to be doing our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. We'll be right back, folks, so don't go away. We got a lot of great show left for you.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Dental Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And it's time for our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. He's the biggest and best voice in America. He reveals the startling heartbeats behind the headlines. And you know what? Today's story is Dr. Bell is alive and well. Let's get to it. Everybody has a favorite teacher. Artie Doyle had a favorite teacher. Artie Doyle was a medical student. First year med school, he had a favorite teacher, a professor named Bell. Now, Dr. Bell must have been a fascinating instructor because Artie remembered him all his life. In fact, that's how we know about Dr. Bell, from Artie. The thing that made Dr. Joseph Bell so interesting was the way that he taught. He was so special that he kept students on the edge of their seats. Joseph Bell had started at the bottom as a hospital attendant and wound up head of the Edinburgh University Medical School. If you knew Dr. Bell, you'd say he made it because he knew how to think. That's what he was always telling his students. You've got to learn how to think, or all you know won't get you anywhere. Bell used to demonstrate this to his students. He had an outpatient facility where he interviewed patients, and sometimes he would invite his class to join him there. He'd have them stand around and watch while these new patients came in to see the doctor. The stories make Bell sound a lot like Dr. Gillespie, squinting over his glasses and intimidating his patients with a childishly wicked expression, right? Then he'd say something like, "Oh, you must be either a cork cutter or a slater." The startled patient would acknowledge that he was, in fact, a slater. Dr. Bell would then turn to his class and wink. He had observed a slight callus on one side of the forefinger and a little thickening on the outside of the thumb. Now, for observant Bell, that was enough to identify the trade of his patient. Another time, Dr. Bell turned to his class immediately before interviewing a patient. "This man's a cobbler," he told them, and he was right. Bell had caught a glimpse of the man's trousers. They were worn at the inside of the knee, right where the cobbler's lapstone sits. Now, you say this doesn't sound much like medicine, right? But what Dr. Bell was trying to impress upon his students, what he was trying to cultivate in them, was the power of observation. You must notice everything, he told them. A good doctor has to notice everything. Still, another time, Dr. Bell told a brand new patient that he, the patient, was not long discharged from the Army. Bell had no readily obvious way of knowing this. The man was wearing street clothes. But Dr. Bell went on to say that the patient had been a non-com officer in a Highland regiment and that he had been stationed in Barbados. Dr. Bell was right on all counts. It was very simple. He explained to his students the man was respectful, but did not remove his hat. They do not in the Army, but he would have learned civilian ways had he been long discharged. He had an air of authority, was obviously Scottish. As to Barbados, his complaint was elephantiasis, which is West Indian and not British. And to Dr. Bell's students, something else was obvious. That for Dr. Bell, medicine was sort of, well, detective work. It's not a matter of coincidence that complicated mystery stories also fascinated him. So it was the way he taught and the way he taught that kept his students spellbound. I'm thinking, however, about Artie Doyle, the first-year med student who sat captured in the back of Bell's class. Artie would go on to become a doctor, yet you know him better for another talent. Artie also became a writer. And through the medicine he learned from Dr. Bell was significant, his professor's power of intuitive reasoning was even more so. Artie immortalized it and him in a character that the world can never forget, because Artie one day became Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. And because one classmate remembered him so well, Dr. Bell is even yet alive and well. 100 years later, and living in literary history forever as the greatest ever criminal diagnostician. It was Dr. Bell who was the author's model for the master sleuth of all time, Sherlock Holmes. And now, you know the rest of the story. Well, Paul Harvey was one of Americans' favorite radio and TV commentators. He was heard in over 775 ABC radio stations and over 400 foreign stations, seen on 110 television stations, and read in 300 newspapers. He was the recipient of numerous awards and honors, including 9 honorary degrees. He was on the Gallup's polls list of America's most admired men. Well, tomorrow we'll have another story commemorating the great late Paul Harvey. We're going to talk about pen pals, and you are absolutely not going to want to miss it. Now, on tomorrow's show, I'm presenting the fast track mediation. I'll tell you all about that, and I'll be answering your emails as well. And then Joel Saltzman and I will be talking about wireless technology news. And then I'll continue to tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey, as I've already mentioned to you, in the rest of the story. So please tell all your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.